The rose was wilting, its petals turning black, but she did not know that the fate of the kingdom was hidden in its bloom. In a kingdom where love was forbidden, roses were the only symbol of hope. They were said to bloom once a year in the royal gardens, their petals as red as the deepest passion, and their fragrance so sweet that it could melt even the coldest of hearts. But the roses were not merely beautiful, they were magical. Each rose held a secret, a powerful enchantment that protected the kingdom from darkness, from war, and from despair. As long as the roses bloomed, the kingdom would remain safe. But now, the last rose of the kingdom was dying. Princess Aloan stood before the royal garden, staring at the withering flower. Its once vibrant petals had begun to turn black, curling at the edges like a heart broken beyond repair. The curse that had been placed upon the kingdom years ago, one that forbade love, stifled passion, and locked the hearts of the royal family away in cold solitude, had taken root. And now, it was destroying the very thing that had kept the kingdom alive. Aloan's father, King Aldrich, had decreed that love was a weakness, a distraction that could lead to betrayal and ruin. He had made it law, no one in the kingdom was to fall in love, not even the royal family. And as the years passed, the roses, once a symbol of hope, began to fade. The garden, once full of vibrant color, had grown dull and lifeless. But Aloan, even in the face of the law, could not suppress the longing in her heart. She had seen her people suffering, their lives empty and colorless, their eyes hollow with a longing they were too afraid to speak of. She, too, felt it, this deep, aching need to love, to be loved, to feel the warmth of a connection that transcended the boundaries of law. And then, one fateful evening, she met him. It was the night of the Festival of Roses, the night when the last rose would bloom for the year. As was tradition, the royal family would present the rose to the people, offering it as a symbol of prosperity and peace. But this year, the rose was dying, and Aloan feared what would happen when the people saw it. She wandered through the garden, seeking solace in the silence of the flowers. It was there, under the dim light of the moon, that she saw him, a stranger standing among the rows of withering roses. His dark hair was tousled by the wind, and his cloak billowed softly behind him. His eyes, though shadowed by the night, seemed to glow with a mysterious light, and as he turned toward her, Aloan's heart skipped a beat. "I did not expect to find anyone here," she said, her voice soft, though her heart was racing. She had always been careful to follow the rules, careful not to draw attention to herself, but there was something about him that made her feel both afraid and curious at once. The man smiled, a hint of sadness in his eyes. "I, too, have been searching," he said, his voice like a song she had never heard before but somehow recognized. "Searching for something I've lost." Aloan's curiosity grew, and she stepped closer, her gaze lingering on the wilted rose in his hand. It was a single, perfect blossom, though its petals were already beginning to darken. "The roses, they are dying," she murmured, the weight of the words heavy on her tongue. "Yes," he said quietly, "and so is the kingdom. A kingdom without love cannot survive." Aloan's breath caught in her throat. "Who are you?" "My name is Rowan," he replied, bowing his head slightly. "And I am here to restore what was lost." Her heart thudded painfully in her chest. "What do you mean?" "Love was forbidden long ago. It is against the law." Rowan's smile deepened, but there was a sadness in it. The law was never meant to take away love. It was meant to protect it, to shield it from those who would use it for power, for manipulation. But the kingdom has misunderstood. Love, true love, is what keeps the balance. Without it, everything falls apart. Aloan felt a surge of emotion, an aching, desperate longing. "Then why is the rose dying?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Rowan took a step closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "Because you do not yet know the truth. The rose is a symbol, yes, but it is also a living thing. It feeds off the love in the kingdom, and without that love, it withers and fades. The last rose must be given freely, given with all your heart. And it must be received with the same love in return." Her heart pounded as she realized what he was asking. You want me to give my heart, my love, to the people of the kingdom?" No, he said softly, you must give your heart to one person. The one who truly deserves it, the one who will restore the balance. Aloan stared at him, her mind racing. Could she? Could she defy the law, break the chains that bound her, and give her heart to someone she barely knew? The fear of her father's wrath, of the consequences, was overwhelming. But then, she thought of the people, their empty eyes, their quiet lives. She thought of the rose, wilting in her garden, and how everything she had known seemed to be fading away. I don't know if I can, she whispered, her voice breaking. Rowan reached out, gently taking her hand in his. You have the power to save this kingdom, Aloan. But first, you must save yourself. The next day, the Festival of Roses arrived, and the kingdom gathered in the grand courtyard, their eyes fixed on the dying rose that would symbolize their future. The air was thick with anticipation, but as Aloan stood before the crowd, holding the last rose, she knew what she had to do. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, her voice trembling as she spoke. This rose, this kingdom, is dying. But there is still time to save it. There is still love to be found. And as she spoke those words, she reached out to Rowan, who had been standing silently at the edge of the crowd. Without hesitation, she handed him the last rose, the petals glowing faintly in his hands. The crowd gasped, but Aloan did not care. She had given her heart, and in doing so, she had restored the balance. The magic of the rose flared to life, its petals turning a deep, vibrant red once more. And as the people looked on in awe, they felt it, a wave of warmth, of connection, of love, sweeping over them. The curse had been broken. From that day forward, the kingdom thrived, and love was no longer forbidden. Aloan and Rowan, bound by fate and by heart, ruled together, their love a beacon for all to see. The roses in the garden bloomed brighter than ever before, each one a symbol of the love that had saved them all. And as the years passed, the last rose of the kingdom remained strong, its petals forever vibrant, forever alive.